She has been the Woman Aviator of the Year. She's probably the singly most important lady aviator in the United States of America and the Western world, and is probably going to be the first Western woman into space. Is that a safe prediction, looking into the stars, Jerrie Cobb?
We hope so. I just wish that it wasn't necessary for you to add that Western woman into space now.
In 1959, a private NASA contractor named William Randolph Lovelace II had the goal of testing women for space travel during the intense and competitive era of the space race. Through this objective, he developed the Mercury 13, an all-woman space group which underwent the same tests as the more well-known Mercury 7, eventually discovering that these women had the same, if not more, desirable traits than men. An article from the New York Times states, "She weighs much less, consumes less oxygen, needs less food, and has proved herself to be better capable of standing psychological strains in certain stress situations." These attributes should have made women the perfect candidates for space travel, but there was still one big issue. They were women. Although these women had immense qualifications and dedication to not only their country but also for flying, they were still denied the opportunity to carry out their chosen careers. Jerrie Cobb, the most notable of these women, felt the greatest loss. With over 10,000 hours of flight time, more than any male or female astronaut during this time, she was the designated leader of the Mercury 13 and the only candidate to successfully complete all 3 phases of Lovelace's tests. However, due to NASA's cancellation of the Mercury 13 program, Cobb was never able to accomplish her career goals during the space race. Her experience can be reflected in countless other women that wish to contribute their efforts to space research, highlighting a breach of their given rights. Women played an important role in all aspects of space exploration, yet society denied them their economic rights, demonstrating patriarchal values that reduced their contributions and opportunities to serve their country. Considering the discussion around fundamental human rights supposedly granted to all individuals, Cobb's loss was all the more devastating, especially during such a crucial time of achievement within the space race. Proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights laid out a comprehensive set of human rights defining a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. Related to economic rights specifically, Article 23 states, "Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work, and to protection against unemployment." While these rights defined by the Universal Declaration are not legally binding in the United States, they are still fully acknowledged as rights and should be strived for within all societies, regardless if they officially appear in the Bill of Rights or not. Especially considering Cobb's highly reputable qualifications, she was certainly capable of all tasks demanded by NASA, proving the loss of her economic rights. Furthermore, Cobb's loss of rights were coupled by patriarchal values maintained by her own colleagues, prolonging the lost and ignored contributions of women in space research. In 1962, John Glenn, who would later become an Ohio senator, wished to participate in space research and lobbied against the Mercury 13 women, stating, "It is just a fact. The men go off and fight the wars and fly the airplanes and come back and help design and build and test them. The fact that women are not in this field is a fact of our social order." Instead of any of the equally dedicated and qualified women, John Glenn was sent into space along with other members of the Mercury 7. Although he contributed to space exploration, Glenn's ideals still perpetuated the exact patriarchal values that hindered efforts within the space race. John Glenn's words shouldn't have contributed to Cobb's disqualification if the decision was truly based on merit and qualifications alone, upholding the equal economic rights given to all individuals. It cannot be known how powerful Jerrie Cobb's contributions would have been in the space race if she weren't denied this position. Yet there is clear evidence that she should have at least been given equal consideration to the position compared to her male counterparts, such as John Glenn. Shortly after this, the Soviet Union sent cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova into space. Not only was she the first woman to go to space, but she also orbited the Earth 48 times and flew over 1 million miles, more orbits, hours, and miles traveled in space than the combined total of America's all-male astronaut corps. This, of course, was a huge loss for the US in the space race, and Cobb was rightfully disappointed. Valentina Tereshkova's flight became a symbol of possibility, a dramatic, worldwide display of what women, American women, might accomplish if only given the opportunity to do so. The news of Tereshkova's flight inspired Americans, especially women, when they saw a prime example of a qualified female cosmonaut. Much of the American population understood the need for more diverse representation in space exploration, and the news of Tereshkova's flight affirmed that it was possible. Even though they were on opposing sides, Tereshkova still commiserated with Cobb by saying, "American leaders shout at every turn about their democracy, and at the same time they announce they will not let a woman into space. This is open inequality." Not only did Tereshkova sympathize with Cobb, but she also pointed out the United States in action to support their democratic values. Tereshkova recognized this issue of women's equality across national lines, rallying for Cobb to be able to participate in her country's society and economy as was her right, gaining access to the same opportunities she was able to get. The 19th Amendment, which gave certain women the right to vote, had already been ratified for 39 years before William Lovelace decided to create the Mercury 13. If women could have the right to vote, why weren't they allowed in space? Even Tereshkova recognized this flaw in American democracy when she spoke of Cobb. This refusal shows two things. One, the US government had believed that women wouldn't want to participate in their democracy after gaining the right to vote. And two, even if they did, they weren't allowed to. These equal rights should have carried over to women's expected responsibilities, allowing them to contribute to their country's society without being restricted to their stereotypical gender roles and norms. The credentials of women like Jerrie Cobb in the space race clearly demonstrated that they were just as suited for space travel as their male counterparts, even though they were unfortunately denied their right.
We see the true shortcomings of the United States through these events, despite the fact that future women were eventually able to travel to space. Due to political circumstances at the time and her many qualifications, Jerrie Cobb had every right to serve in her chosen career, especially considering the impact she would have made in the space race. The decoration she earned gave her a responsibility to further space exploration, contributing to our nation in the way that would support it the most. There is a clear and underlying issue here. Despite the government's desire to beat the USSR in putting a woman into space, they couldn't let go of patriarchal values that hindered their progress within this competition. Jerrie Cobb remarks, "I'd give my life to fly in space. I would have then, and I will now." She clearly demonstrated her dedication towards improving the US through space exploration, yet she was denied her right to be able to participate in her country's economy and society. To have contributions like Cobb's become missed opportunities was devastating for the entire country, even if its leaders and society didn't realize it at the time. Because of deeply rooted patriarchal values, the US lost significant amounts of brainpower and collaboration within their efforts during the space race. While we specifically highlighted Jerrie Cobb, there were many other individuals that were either marginalized or not credited for the work they did during the space race. All of these underrepresented groups fought for their entitled positions, and while their efforts contributed to increased inclusivity in NASA, more steps can be taken to prevent future groups from being marginalized. In 2023, NASA released an article from LaToya Dean celebrating the role of women in NASA, yet there was no mention of the women in the Mercury 13. This is a current historical blind spot for NASA, and more can be done to highlight underrepresented contributions to space exploration, honoring the experiences of those who were unrightfully denied their full potential, yet still made significant progress in their areas of work where they could. Through strides towards further representation and acknowledgement of fundamental rights, society can begin to give future women opportunities that were denied to women in the past. So now, imagine a world where Jerrie Cobb was never denied her right to go to space.